Hey guys, welcome back to Slam Dunk Central. Today we'll talk about why the WNBA is amazing. Let's head into it. Fundamentals.
There's some things, and passing is definitely one of them. A steal underneath, and who's on the floor? Sky players, less than a minute.
WNBA teams are adept at the fundamentals of the game, from ball movement to defense to free throws. Yes, free throws, perhaps the most fundamental of the fundamentals. Just stand at the line and attempt to make an uncontested shot. In the 2015 season, the Chicago Sky led the WNBA in free throw percentage at 82.6%. Four other teams, including the Seattle Storm, shot better than 80%. If the Indiana Fever had made a few more misses, half the league would have been 80% or better. The worst free throw shooters were the Connecticut Sun at 74.1%. The best free throw shooting team in the NBA this season, the New York Knicks, is shooting at 80.9%, the only team shooting 80%. Three NBA teams are shooting worse than 70%. Last among them, the Detroit Pistons at 64.8%. The Pistons have had the old hack-a-shack technique deployed against them, a cynical approach that wouldn't even be attempted if NBA players were better at shooting free throws. The WNBA also places a greater emphasis on teamwork and relies less on isolation that turns players into one-on-one contests in a race to the rim. Better fundamentals mean less. Traveling.
Pulls it away. Good read anticipation there by Sue Bird. She looks to push it up the floor.
Many NBA fans are wary of hearing about it from the league's detractors, but traveling in the NBA is a basketball joke. Watch any game and you'll see multiple traveling violations that go uncalled. The play in the WNBA, and along with it the officiating, makes such egregious traveling a rarity. It could also be the physicality of WNBA players, means they play closer to the floor and officials don't face the quandary of an NBA ref reluctant to call traveling and erase a highlight reel dunk. WNBA players are extremely talented.
Dallas with the basketball first, second meeting between these two teams. Here is Sabali, up and under.
As evidenced above, these female hoopers are not just good, they're great at what they do, legendary even. From Brittany Griner to Skylar Diggins and the names mentioned above, we are currently witnessing some of the best female basketball players who will ever play the game of basketball. Although the league is still somewhat in its infancy, relatively speaking, many players in this generation of the WNBA will go down as greats, not only because of how they perform on the court, but also because they're proving to be more than just athletes.
Misses down a tough angle underneath. Dangerfield left alone. Puts it in for the first basket.
On the court, they're dedicated to the game, but off the court, they are so much more. From Ty Young's impressive shoe collection and love for fashion, Imani McGee-Stafford's advocacy for self-care and mental health, and Chiny Ogwumike's mastery on the mic as an ESPN reporter, we're seeing female hoopers achieve things that extend the boundaries of what it means to be a professional athlete. These WNBA players are taking full advantage of the opportunities at hand and to do more, achieve more, and impact future generations of young female athletes. They're making a difference in our communities, building businesses, and investing in themselves, and for this reason and this reason alone, relatability.
Only 144 women that get this blessing to have the opportunity. Nobody's really retiring, and every year it comes in great talent, so it's the highest level.
Last season, the average NBA player was 6'7" and 218 pounds. That's the sort of size that makes jaws drop when these giants lumber around in public. In his book, Blink, Malcolm Gladwell states that only 3.9% of American men are 6'2" or taller. According to GameFAQs.com, the average height of a WNBA player is around 5'11". That's just an inch taller than the overall American male average. So at least in terms of height, WNBA players are more like the average Joe. Greater physical limitations compel women players to compensate with hard work. WNBA players commonly practice against men. The Seattle Storm has been known to recognize their practice players during home games. Phoenix Mercury practice squad player Anthony Terrampido practiced against University of Arizona's women's team before joining the Mercury. Tepedino told Vice Sports, "If you're not bringing it against the Mercury, you'll get beat down." WNBA teams don't just take any male pickup basketball player off the street. They want practice partners who are familiar with complex basketball terminology, and you can step right into the system to challenge them and help them get better through practice. By contrast, as an exemplar of NBA attitudes towards practice, we all remember how Allen Iverson felt about the subject. All these things, dedication to playing the game the right way, serving as relatable role models, and putting forth the effort to improve, make the WNBA an inspiration. A few years ago, my daughter, who is 9, expressed a desire to become the first female NFL player. She understands that for the dream to come true, she'd most likely be a kicker. I shared with her the numbers that are stacked against anyone who wants to play in the NFL, that 3 million American kids between 6 and 14 play tackle football, and there are just 1,696 NFL players any given season. Then she shared with me another dream, to become the first female NBA player. And while I, like any other parent, would like her to believe that she can become anything she'd like to be, let's face it, she's 4'8", and even with a growth spurt, she'll never be able to play in the NBA, but she could play in the WNBA. The WNBA is one of the most visible examples of women excelling in professional team sports. They play a game with almost all the same dimensions as the men. The court is the same size, the hoop is the same height, just the ball is smaller. There's no equivalent in other major sports of football, baseball, and hockey. My daughter, any daughter, needs inspiration, needs examples of adult women showing her the way towards realizing her dreams, and for her, the WNBA is that. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.